This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the RMC group for October. Good to see everybody. Hopefully, everybody has been doing good, doing well. Um, so yeah, we're gonna jump right into this meeting. Like always, this is a forum you can be free to share your experiences. If you have any questions or anything like that, I mean, feel free to share them with us or whatever. Um, So I'll kick things off here. So this month here, this is my fourth year since I got my first clear scan. So 4 years since my first clear scan. So man, I was excited about that and looking forward to many more years. So yeah, so now I get a scan once a year at MD Anderson. So once a year until I guess to the end, I guess. So that's what we looking like. So yeah, I'm just gonna go around and be free to share if you got any questions. So let's start with David since he all the way in Germany. I know it's early in the morning there. So David, you got any updates, any questions or concerns or anything you want to ask the group here?
So yeah, so you're 4 years. That's amazing, Andre. Firstly, I'd like to say I'm very happy for you. That's amazing. Um, I believe I'm 3 years from my from diagnosis at least. Yeah, 3 years.
Okay. Yeah,
About two and a half.
I'm I'm 5 years from diagnosis and 4 years from my first clear scan. So I just wanted to
Oh wow,
say that. Yeah.
that's very positive. So yeah, I had my last scan in August, which was clear, which was great news. Didn't show any signs of metastatic disease. I was just really worried because I'd been coughing up blood. I had a cough for a very long time, so I just thought, oh no, this is going to be really bad news. But it's positive in the sense that it's very clear. So obviously, I'm very happy about that.
Man, that's
That's
amazing, man.
that is
That's
great.
that's definitely great, man. I'm glad to hear that, David. So you feeling good physically? How are you feeling like as far
Yeah,
as
apart from this cough I've had for quite some time, I feel fine, to be honest. Yeah.
okay. Okay. Did you
Mm.
deal with any neuropathy or anything like that? From
What's that? What's the number of? Is,
I know I dealt with peripheral neuropathy. Is where you get
oh,
like
it's the nerves
nerve.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've been okay from that.
Okay. Good.
Mm.
Good.
Are you still receiving treatment, David?
No, no treatment. It's just similar to Andre. I'm now on yearly scans.
Okay.
Well, 6 months there'll be like a follow up, like chat, and then to look to have a scan 6 months later. But apparently if there are any symptoms, then they would move the scan forward.
It's awesome.
Mm.
So how long have you been in Germany?
Been in Germany since Sunday night. I'm on a little road trip, sorry, and round trip of Europe.
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
All right, man. Well, you got a lot to celebrate, man. So hey,
Yeah,
go out there and,
yeah,
and explore. Man, that's great.
exactly. And I'm
That's
a travel. I
great.
love traveling.
Miss Richie, we about to have a whole army of clear scans around here pretty soon.
I'm telling you, I like it. I like it. Wonderful.
Yeah, so man, that's good. That's great, man. The more good news we hear, the more encouraged, others will be. So that's definitely great. So thank you for sharing, David. Appreciate you. Okay, we're gonna move to Heather. Um, you have anything you want to share with the group tonight, or anything you want to ask? Any questions or updates?
Uh, yes, I do. Congratulations on 4 years of being cancer free. That's awesome, and that's what every single one of us hope for. Um, I I was at MD Anderson September. I think it was September 13th. I had scans back in August, and there were two tiny little spots in my right lung. Dr. Massell kind of left behind from chemo. Um, so I went back to MD Anderson September 13th, and we zapped those two spots with radiation. And my C125 was still good. I think it was like 5.4. Um, I go back to MD Anderson November 13th for follow-up scans, and at that point, be clear and I will be cancer free. If not, I will have to start chemo back. And Dr. Massell said that we would do chemo and radiation together to hopefully knock it out, but I'm not letting myself think and go down that path right now. I'm just believing that it will all be clear and I'll be cancer free.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, you're already healed. You're already a warrior, you know. So, um, did you have radiation before, or this was your first time having radiation? When they got those two,
This was actually my third time having
third time.
radiation. Yeah, they radiated a lymph node in my abdomen back in June, and then a nodule in my left lung in August, I believe, and then I had the radiation to my right lung in September. So um, hopefully that's the last of it.
Most definitely. Um, yeah, I did chemo in conjunction with radiation as well. So, I mean, I think the radiation worked relatively well. So, um,
Oh
we're
yeah,
gonna keep.
it's definitely the easy part of everything.
Oh yeah, the
So
most the easiest. Yep.
yeah, so if I have to have more radiation, at least it is the easy part. But I'm
Hmm.
just keeping a positive mind for now.
And that's right. I mean, that's the first step. Positive mind, positive thinking. Um, and, as always, you're gonna be with our thoughts and prayers, and we looking forward to, hearing, the good news in the future. So we with you,
Thank you.
and we clear scans. Look, we want clear scans all around this
Amen.
group here. That's right.
Amen. Thank
That's
you.
that's right. Thank you for sharing. We're gonna go to Jennifer. You have any updates or anything you want to share with the group? Any questions?
You're on
You're
mute,
on mute,
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
I always do that. Hi everybody. Congrats, Andre, David, Heather. What's your good news? Um,
Thank you.
not much of an update since I guess it was the Saturday's call. Antonio's still getting his like every 3 weeks on and then 1 week off of his treatments. Yesterday he had, I think it was his 16th round, and his CA 125 did go down about 60 points. I was really nervous because they hadn't done the test like the week before, and I know Dr. Masal is, monitoring that number to, debate whether he should go in for the clinical trial, but he's still responding, so we were really happy to see his number, come in lower this time. He had some spots that were on his scalp that they think that it's from the panitumumab rather than lesions, and so those seem to have cleared up a little bit too. So we're just hopeful, things are going along. We go back again on November 14th for scans and to see Dr. Masal. So I did have a question as far as, because his last scan he had a spot on his lung and one of the lymph nodes in his neck lit up, and then the possibility of the scalp issue there. But what, nothing was said about as far as radiation. I know that future could possibly, but what determines when they, I don't know if anybody can help me with this. I don't know what would determine. they would say, well, let's do radiation on it.
Um, I can chime in right here. I know in my case, and we did have Dr. Tang on here as well. Um, so you may can go back and look at some of the old videos with Dr. Tang on it. But um, I was told once I guess the tumors or the cancer cells, once they, I guess, shrink down far enough where they feel like or get to one condensed area, I think that's when they'll feel comfortable in radiating that area. I know in my case, I had some problems with my lymph nodes, where my kidney, close to my kidney, where my kidney was. So those were like kind of the problem cells, and they was able to go in and radiate. Heather, what about in your case, Heather? When did you when did they talk to
Um,
you about radiation?
Jennifer, I was told kind of the same thing like Andre. I always had an issue with my lymph node. I had two in my stomach. Chemo killed one, and the other one was just really, really stubborn. Which I have, from research, I've found out that RMC loves lymph nodes.
Hmm.
But basically, kind of what I've learned, I've read Dr. Masel's papers and articles, and he told me that you had to have, I believe it was less than 5 spots where your cancer had spread to. Don't quote me on this, but if I'm remembering right, less than 5 spots all over your body. Um, so I had like, I guess my lungs would count as like one big spot, then I had the two lymph nodes. So I think that's kind of why they chose to do radiation with me. But like I said, don't quote me on that because I know Julia had radiation as well, and I know that her cancer was pretty widespread. So I'm not totally positive on that. That's just what I've heard.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Okay, you're welcome. And I mean, feel free to bring it up. Next time you go in and see Dr. Masal. I mean, if they don't approach you with it, just ask the question. I mean, you definitely your own best advocate. You know what I'm saying? You got to
Mhm.
advocate for Antonio, and so yeah, you got those questions. Definitely bring them up, and they'll help you address them. Or Dr. Masal, him and Dr. Tang have a great working relationship or whatever. So
Yeah,
um, maybe they both can take a look at Antonio scans and kind of see what to radiate, when to radiate. You're saying he's doing relatively well as far as the chemo and stuff like that. So hopefully, you know, um, they'll feel good enough about doing a radiation, because I think that's definitely I know that's a big part of my process or whatever. I think that help those problem areas out, those lymph nodes and nodules on the lungs and stuff like that.
yeah. Okay.
But thank you for sharing. Antonio, is with our, he in our thoughts and prayers. So we looking forward to hearing his good news, and praying that he keeps getting stronger and better. So thank you for sharing. Um, we're gonna go to Misty. Do you have any updates or anything you want to share with the group tonight, or any questions? Misty, are you with us?
Sorry, yes. I, pardon me, I had just got home from the grocery store and was unpacking groceries and trying to do too many things. So before you called my name, I only heard the last part. I don't know. Uh, what did, am I just supposed to introduce myself? Is that what I'm doing?
Um, well, I mean, if you have any updates
Sure.
for us, or any questions or concerns, or I mean anything you want to address with the group, I mean feel free to share.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I missed a month. I think our first time on here was August.
Mm-hmm.
I think we missed last month. So we just came from the urologist today, and he called me while I was at Walmart. I haven't even gotten a chance to tell LV. Surgery is Friday to remove her kidney, but now they're discussing removing her gallbladder, not because of cancer, but because she has some gallstones and sludge, and there's some complications that are known to happen post-operatively. So we have to discuss this still with our hepatologist. She sees a liver doctor also. So LB has an unrelated autoimmune liver hepatitis. Um, when she was hospitalized, it was because her liver numbers were off the chart. She was having back pain, but I don't know that they would have caught this if she didn't have the autoimmune liver hepatitis. Because we were admitted to the liver ward and they had only done an abdominal ultrasound. And it wasn't until all the other symptoms of her cough, headache, and abdominal pain that didn't match with, it didn't connect with the liver issue. And so it was when they did the biopsy that they found the RMC. So, but she's doing really well. She's been on a chemo break in preparation for the surgery. Um, and she had just finished round 8 about 3 weeks ago, and we've been on this pause for surgery, and they're expecting probably about 2 weeks after the surgery to put her on a maintenance dose of bortezomib, which they hope will actually help her liver also. It's a lot. And so people come into town, and that's why I have to buy groceries and laundry detergent, and I'm cleaning and trying to keep my job. Uh, um, I thought LB's dad was on here. I don't see his name. Maybe he's on a mobile device and couldn't
Yeah,
hear.
yeah. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay,
Hey,
so
hi.
the caller one, that's LB's dad, Ono, and I don't know if he shared already but this is his first time here today.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm sure. I just been listening, so was waiting for the right time to introduce myself. But yes, my name is Onochie Achuku, also known as Ono, as Mishti said, Elvis' dad. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be on the call. Misty had told me about this a while back, and I just was never able to join. So I'm glad I was able to join today. Yeah, so really I'm just listening today for the most part. But for everyone to share, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining in. Like I said before, this group, is all about, open forum, be free and to share, our experiences, our struggles, or whatever the case may be. We all have been touched, by this journey, either, as a caregiver or a patient, or, someone who has lost a loved one. So, um, thank you guys for joining. Um, and our thoughts and prayers gonna be with LV, through her surgery. So yeah, we looking forward to. I said this before. We're looking forward to hearing good news, good scans. Until there's no evidence of disease, until there's a
I
cure
do,
for the disease.
I do want to ask, has anyone had an experience with doing bortezomib maintenance or having to abandon because of LB's liver, we're not going to finish rounds 9, 10, and 11. but she's already had an amazing response already. So a long time ago, our oncologist here in Atlanta said that we would, even if there was no evidence on scans and in the antigen 125, we would do all 11 rounds of the AB cycle. And so, but we're at a really good place. And I just wondered if anyone had a similar experience or can share anything about not going all the way to round 11 and or going on a maintenance drug like bortezomib to get to a point where they say we're clear and they take a report out. We'd love to hear if anyone has any experience like that or wants to share anything.
So the floor is open. If anybody, had any maintenance drugs after chemo or anything like that. I know in my case, I've been on several different chemos. I never did any maintenance type of drug, but I know the last time I was on chemo, I didn't go up to that certain level because my white blood cell count was probably too low, or red blood cell count was too low. So there are certain cases where they look at those different numbers and things like that, whether they take you all the way through with the chemo. So that's my story. I don't know if anybody else have anything to add to that.
One question I did have, and I hope everyone can hear me.
Okay.
But yeah, one question I did have. I know I met. I think you. I'm sorry if I don't remember your name. Sorry, but I think you had mentioned you just had. Was that your first clear scan you had, or was that just another clear scan that you had in the past few years?
David just had his clear scan. I know my first clear scan was 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It was 4 years. I think I remember you saying that. I just wanted to clear. But David just had his first clear scan.
No. I've been having clear scans since I
Okay.
finished chemo. So, my story in brief was that I had blood in my urine as my first symptoms, and eventually they removed my whole right kidney. And then since then, so I had metastatic disease because they checked my kidney under a microscope and saw it spread to a local lymph node and something else that they'd removed in the operation. But then since the chemo, I've had clear scans, and that's
Oh,
been
great.
for about 3 years.
3 years.
Wonderful. Oh, that's awesome. So, and that's, I think so. I don't know if you're familiar with LV. LV had considerably spread in her lungs. They found her lungs and liver and some lymph nodes. And so we've been having scans. I mean, at least once a month for the past um, since May. And when you say clear scan, are we talking about a clear PET scan, or are we looking at like MRIs too? I mean, what I guess I'm just trying to understand when I hear clear scan, I just want to make sure I understand what that means.
Sure. So from a UK perspective, I'm not sure how different it is in the US, but in the UK, I've had one PET scan, but with the exception of that, I've had, let's say, 9 CT scans. They've always been CT scans for me. They had one MRI because they were worried in one of the CT scans that there was a nodule or some little thing in my liver, which they decided it wasn't important enough to investigate. That was about a couple of years ago, but generally speaking, it's been CT scans for me. And by clear, they mean that they can't see, the radiologist can't see any sign of metastatic disease in the CT scan.
Yes. For the U.S., for the most part, it's CT scans. So when I say clear scan, they don't see no evidence of disease on the scan. So, but mostly CT scan.
Okay, so we've had a combination of CT scans, PET scans. I Missy can chime in too. So we've been, I believe, our first. Well, nobody has come out and told us it's a clear scan, but there's also they haven't. I mean, at least the last CT scan. Sorry, the last PET scan. There did not seem to be any evidence, but it always feels like it's never conclusive, and I guess the reason why they say that is because they feel like we haven't completed the therapy. But Missy, please chime in. I guess I'm just trying to understand what we should be looking for to kind of have this kind of level of confidence that okay, it is a clear scan.
Let me clarify, maybe I know what you're talking about. So when they tell us on her imaging, they say there's no new tumors, the tumors that were there are gone, or it hasn't metastasized any further. Is that what you mean, Ono? That they, or as in the PET scan, they said there's no new lighting up, because they say some of her, like her lymph nodes, are always going to show an evidence that cancer was there. I guess is some of the things
Yeah,
we've heard from them. Is that Ono?
that's what I'm getting at. Like they exactly to that point. Like they said again back to the PET scan that even think that what like that the things that led up were just were either a combination of scarring and just evidence of that there was potentially cancer there, right? But they, for us, we've never gotten like the feedback that it was a clear, that we've gotten a clear scan. But at the same time, we haven't gotten any feedback that there is actually evidence of disease left. Because, for instance, her kidney tumor is now essentially just a lesion or a scar, right? So I guess, and I don't know what question I'm asking, to be honest with you. I guess maybe just trying to, because when we were getting these scans, I was kind of hesitant to be, to start celebrating. But at the same time, I knew she was getting a lot better. But I mean, she was getting better, but it just wasn't clear to me what that exactly meant, right? And also, I think maybe the follow-up question of that is, were you guys still, when you, for those that have been through this, were you still receiving chemo after you had received clear scans at any point?
Brian, can you chime in on that? Did you receive chemo after?
No, so I was scheduled to have chemo um the day after I got my first clear scan, but since I got a clear scan, they elected to stop doing chemo for me. And then at that point, I was pretty much done. So
I could say something to that. I know in some cases, so no evidence of disease mean that there is no evidence of cancer in your body, period. And I know in some cases, and it's an individual basis, sometimes they'll say, okay, you have a clear scan, and then sometimes the physician will leave it up to the patient
yeah.
or the parent, if it's a minor, to decide if they want to continue chemotherapy for a couple more clear scans. So I think it's on an individual basis
Mhm.
when that occurs, because I know in Dylan's case, he had clear scans, but he did continue, I think, another cycle of chemo.
Yeah, that's right, Miss Ritchie. And sometimes, they have a set number of, I guess, chemo cycles they want to give you, and if you get like clear scans like in between, so you have an option to do the rest of them or not. Um, so that's on an individual basis. Now, as far as um, now the CT scans, it does show like scar tissue and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So on my scans, I know I had scar tissue on my vertebrae, my L2 vertebrae. Um, so they looked at it, but they just determined that it was scar tissue. So See, stuff like that may pop up, but that's not no evidence of disease. That may be scar tissue or some other explain thing or whatever. So
Yeah, that happened to me. Because the RMC spread to my lungs, so they saw scar tissue on my lungs and they saw spots, but they weren't exactly sure if it was cancer or not.
mhm.
So in that case, they decided to hit it with radiation just to make sure. I know in some cases, even though that there's no growth, there hasn't been any growth yet, they still might give you chemo just to continue to kill whatever they can't see, just to be on the safe side, as long as your body can take it.
Well, I can say that's exactly what happened to me because after my radical nephrectomy, when I had my right kidney completely removed from my body,
Mm,
um, they found out that it was RMC and they said it was stage 3 metastasized cancer
mm,
because they'd looked at it under and the other parts they removed under a microscope. But when I did my CT scan after the surgery, it was before chemo, and it was clear, as in there was no sign of cancer in the CT scan, but they still decided to do what they called adjunctive. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm not sure. Chemotherapy, which was 5.5 months, 6 cycles of carboplatin and the other one I can't remember. So I'm tired. Um, that was 1 week of one, 1 week of the other, then 2 weeks break, and then repeat 6 times.
I just have to say too, my son had a clear scan and he was supposed to have two more treatments, and the doctor opted and said that he was good, everything was clear, you don't have to worry about it. And so he didn't, and it came back in a form, I guess, I can't even remember where it came back. And it just went from there, and that's when he had to have the radiation and all of that. It came back worse than it was the first time after his clear scans. So I just wanted to say that, to just be very, do your due diligence to make sure you know what route you want to go, because in hindsight, we don't know if it would have made a difference, but in hindsight I probably would have suggested that they at least continue those last few chemo just to be sure. We don't know if it would have made a difference or not, but like you said, Andre and everybody was saying, it's just different for everybody's journey. It's just different for everyone, whether or not, how the clear scans work, and I guess what chemo you're on and things like that. So I just wanted to say, just to stay on top of it, even if it comes up clear scans, just make sure that you stay on top of it.
yeah, and
And
actually, I'm sorry.
go
And
ahead,
actually,
go ahead. I got
I was actually mistaken earlier. I actually did after I did get, I guess it was they didn't necessarily tell me I was Ned right away, but they did say that they haven't seen any growth in that instance. So in essence, I was Ned, but not officially Ned. But they did continue to give me chemo. Dr. Masal asked me if I wanted to keep going, and I told him yeah, just to make sure it's like there may be stuff we can't see, and if it does come back, it's not going to be through a lack of trying. So we're just going to give you as much chemo as we can, as long as your body can't take it anymore. So I said, I told him just keep on giving it to me because I was handling chemo pretty well at the time. So I just said, just keep giving it to me until like my body can't take it anymore. So it got to a certain point till I think after a year of not seeing any growth, then that's when they took me off of it and said I was officially Ned.
and just to add to that, even after you get your first clear scans, like Dr. Masao will make sure that at least do scans every. I started out every 3 months, so I
Yeah,
did that for about a year or so. Then it went to every 4 months, then every 6 months. So I'm 4 years removed from my first clear scan, and I'm just now going to having a scan once a year. So
yeah, and
um, it
I'm
it is a
currently on.
process. It
Yeah,
is slow process, and the further you get away further you get removed from your first clear scan, I mean, just the better you're gonna feel about it. I mean, pretty much. And then they'll start spreading out those scans. So, but you always got to stay on on top of it. We know RMC is an aggressive disease, so it's definitely something that definitely need to be stayed on top of.
Uh, Thank you all. That was really, I know it was a lot, but it's kind of reassuring. Also that we're kind of, at least our the oncology team is kind of basing what they're doing on past experience, and so yeah. But we're very, I don't know if you mentioned again, we're very happy with the results so far. Considering where she was, like I said, it spread to her lungs, her kidney, and abdominal fluids, lymph nodes. So we're very grateful for how well she's doing at this point.
Thank y'all for sharing. Definitely, Elvie's gonna be in our thoughts and prayers. Um, yeah, just stay positive and keep pushing forward. That's the main thing. So yeah, we thankful for y'all being here and sharing your story and your journey. Um, yeah, we looking forward to clear scans, across the board, man. Uh I'm just encouraged by all of the good news that I'm hearing, tonight from the group because it's just I just, man, Dr. Messiah promised that there's going to be a cure for this disease, and I'm encouraged by all the new treatments, all the new clinical trials, and everyone's scan results. So thank y'all for sharing with us. Um, Melissa, do you have any updates, any questions or concerns that you want to share with the group this evening?
Sure. So I'm recently diagnosed. Um, I have been going to MD Anderson, and Dr. Masoul has been consulting on my care, and I have a consultation visit with him Friday. First of all, I want to apologize for being late. I had my first chemo treatment Thursday and triggered some stuff, and then I caught COVID, and I had heard or learned about the Chris Johnson Foundation and saw this group and then just couldn't get back to when it was. And I thought it was tonight. So I'm glad I persisted. David's story is a lot like mine. Hematuria, they took the kidney and then it's spread. So hearing all of you going through chemo and NED and clear scans, it's just, I cannot tell you how important it is to me. Sorry, I'm sure you've all
It's
been here.
okay. It's
It's
okay.
okay. It's
We're
okay to,
family.
this is the forum to,
Yeah,
let it out and,
yeah,
if you need to cry, shed some tears, I mean, feel free to do it. I mean, we here with you. We all been a part of this process. I mean, I
yeah,
was there.
yeah. It's a
It's definitely something difficult news to deal with or whatever. But I
it's
mean,
inc-
we are.
hearing all your stories. It's just working with Dr. Rasul has given me hope and seeing everything that he does, and just hearing all your stories gives me some much needed hope. Thank you.
And where are you from, Melissa?
I live in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, which is kind of between Albuquerque and Santa Fe.
Hmm.
We have the balloon fiesta going on right now, so there's lots of hot air balloons in the morning.
October. Yeah, I'm familiar with it. My son actually went to University of New Mexico.
Oh, cool. My son is going there now. We moved him in 2 days before my radical nephrectomy.
Oh, okay.
But luckily Houston is close, and we're able to get there. But didn't have a really good experience with my surgery and my care up till. So I'm glad to have a team that I trust now.
Sure. Well, we'd
Good.
definitely like to connect with you. I could put my number in the chat for you. Would love to connect with you and meet up
Thank,
with you.
thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
Melissa, please send us your email, and then we'll
Okay.
put you on you can do it privately or you can do it for everybody, and then everybody will jump in and give you some support. And then you'll get a reminder before every meeting as well. So
Yep. I just found, like, just as I was
the
looking
next,
at the meeting, so I think I've signed up for the reminders, but I
oh, you
definitely,
have? Okay.
yeah.
I'm curious, how did you find out about Dr. Masoul?
Um, so I am sickle cell. Well, the short answer is the oncologist that I was sent to see initially at MD Anderson. Just once they fine tuned my pathology, and initially it was collecting duct carcinoma, and then they looked at the past slides again and said, no, actually, we think it's this.
Okay.
The oncologist, Dr. Kovitz, that I was working with, said, guess what? You happen to be at the place where the man for this is. Um,
But
so,
how did you get to MD Anderson from
oh, from New Mexico.
uh yeah, what made you go to MD Anderson from New Mexico? That was you were inspired.
No, MD Anderson's reputation is no. Ah, what did I do? Unfortunately, what happened?
We can
Can you
hear
guys?
you.
Oh, can you? Okay. Can't see you guys
Yeah.
anymore. Unfortunately, I've had family members have to use their
Okay.
services. Um, so I was aware of it. Had looked into going prior to and just couldn't get an appointment. And then when my pathology came back and we weren't sure if it was cancer prior to my pathology, prior to the nephrectomy. Um, Once I showed that I had that, they said, okay, we'll call back in 24 to 48 hours. And they called back in 2 hours and made me an appointment. So
Okay.
I know that it was serious. Let's see if I can get the video back on.
You'll get it. You'll get it. No,
There we go.
yes, there you go. As many of the many of the people in this group will tell you, you were really fortunate to have chosen MD Anderson rather than say where you were. You know, you could have gone to Mayo in Phoenix, or you could have gone. You could have gone. There's a bunch of places you could have gone. I live in Arizona, so I know the area a little bit, and
I did
you
not know
couldn't
Bristol
you couldn't
before.
have found a better place.
I
You
do feel
you couldn't you you couldn't have found a better place.
I feel
So and you have yet to come under the wing of Miss Ritchie. Oh my gosh, you don't even know what's in store for you yet.
thank you. That's
Thank
wonderful.
you, Rick.
That sounds amazing. Well, I'll be in Houston. Um, we'll arrive Thursday evening for blood work Friday morning and my appointment with Dr. Masoul Friday afternoon. So
Okay.
this
So
week is a lot turning around.
you're getting your chemo locally.
I will. We couldn't set up how amazing Dr. Masoul and Dr. Kovitz are. I got my PET scan the Friday before. Dr. Kovitz actually called me with my results, which my previous urologist did not call me with my results. I just saw them on my chart, and said, hey, listen, it looks like we're going to need to get you started on chemo. You've got some spread. I was scheduled to start with a local oncologist or meet them on October 14th. Dr. Kovitz thought we could probably wait for then. And then he called back like maybe 15 minutes later and said, no, I messaged Dr. Masul, and he said, no, we're not waiting. We want to get you started ASAP. I wasn't able to establish with the local oncologist, have him rewrite the orders for the chemotherapy and get insurance to go through it. I wanted to start. So came back to Houston again for
Okay.
my first chemo treatment, and then hopefully I'll do the rest here locally.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So is your local oncologist in touch with Dr. Masul already?
I don't know that he's in touch with Dr. Masul. Dr. Kovitz over at the Woodlands, MD Anderson, has been in touch with him. They've been in touch with him.
Okay. 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 So but the connection's been made.
The connection's been made.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, it's great if you can get treated locally under the care of Dr. Masul.
Mm.
Um, that's a fairly ideal situation, wouldn't you say, Richie and Carissa?
Yes,
Yeah.
Mm.
very much so.
Yeah.
Are you
Travel.
getting your are you getting your scans in MD Anderson when you get your scans done? Or are you going to get them locally?
I will follow Dr. Masul's lead on that.
Yeah, usually they'll have you to come here to get scans, and oftentimes, if you can get treatment at home, but they
Right.
always like to do the scans here.
Okay. That sounds good to me. We'll make it happen.
Well, we
Mm,
definitely need your contact information so that I can
I
sort of
am.
be on this journey with you.
Okay. I'm typing my email address.
okay. Now we also have a couple of other groups, which I always like to tell newbies because you might want to participate in those groups. We have a group called Women Speaking Freely, which is a women only group to talk about everything except treatment. So things like, how you're dealing with this with your family and your son and everything else. And I'll make sure that you are signed up for that. That meeting is the third Monday of each month in the morning. So I'll make sure we have. I don't know if any of the people in this here go to it, but we have a fantastic art therapy class, a virtual art class that is next week, and with an outstanding teacher, and people seem to like that. Um, I I don't expect you're a vet, are you? No. Okay. Well, we do have a vet. We do have a very good vets group. We've never seen Andre in that captain. We've never seen you in the vets group. You've got to at least show your face in there.
I'm gonna jump
And
in there.
and,
I'm gonna jump.
and
I'm gonna jump in there.
let me tell you why, Captain. Because Captain Jim, who runs it, he finds ways for benefits that you've never even thought of. So he's going to put money in your pocket if you go into that vets group. You,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
so so you need to show up once in a while in that vets group and tell them about you. And we want to make sure you're getting all the benefits you're entitled to. And that's true for any vet that we've got
Mm-hmm.
here. You don't have to be Captain Andre, although we love Captain Andre, but you don't have to be Captain Andre. Besides, They wouldn't let him on base with those dreads nowadays, would they? Eh? What would they do to you if you showed up on base with those dreads, Captain?
Ah man, I don't. I can show up on base. I just can't. I can't be in no type of uniform or anything. I just got to come in like a civilian, Rick. I got to come in like
Okay.
a.
Anyway,
Melissa,
Melissa, I hope we can support you. Go ahead, Richie.
I'm sorry. I was just going to ask Melissa what was her last name.
Fernandez.
Hernandez. Okay. And we actually have Teresa and Marlene that are in Albuquerque.
Oh,
Um,
great.
they they lost their Marlene lost her son to RMC, and that's Teresa's um, nephew.
Okay,
Really sweet people I can connect you with.
that would be nice.
You did say Hernandez, right?
Fernandez. Yep.
Okay.
So,
Has your um has your son been tested for sickle cell trait?
um, as far as we can recall, the alarm going off to remind me to take my medications. So, um, um, at birth he was tested, and he does have the trait. I also have a daughter, and we cannot find her medical records to see if she was tested. So we'll be getting that checked.
It's just a
Okay.
little skin prick.
Yeah. Yep. They double checked my sickle cell trait um, when when I went for my first appointment with Dr. Cope.
So one thing, are either of your kids athletic?
Not really anymore. No.
Okay. Okay. I mean, one of them isn't like at UNM on an athletic
Right.
scholarship or anything like that, right? Because
No.
I was going to say that if they are, it's really, really, really important that they stay well hydrated.
Right. Right.
More so, with sickle cell trait, if you're an athlete,
Right.
you've got to stay really, really well hydrated to avoid RMC.
Okay. I
You've got to stay well hydrated anyway,
Anyway,
but especially if you're athletic. Anything else regarding the kids, Richie?
No, that's the main thing. It's okay for them to play sports, but it's important too that they do hydrate and rest.
yeah.
So often the coaches will drill you and not even think of allowing them breaks. So they have to be their own advocate.
Mhm.
Did you play sports, Melissa?
I'm sorry.
Did you play sports?
I
Any sports?
in high school I was a swimmer. That's
Okay.
about. I mean, and I wasn't. We learned about our sickle cell trait in the family because my cousin went into Annapolis and they did a thorough workup, and they said, "Hey,
Mm,
trait." So the rest of us, the cousins and what have you, tested. And initially, of course, they tell you, don't go into thin air. I'm not going to do any mountain climbing, and don't play extreme sports. That's really all the guidance I got. I had no clue um, that this was even a possibility.
mm,
So,
Education is so important, and we are lacking it. Even we have difficulty in the sickle cell disease community itself,
mhm.
really understanding the importance of sickle cell trait education. They
Mhm.
don't see it as a problem, and trying to change the myth that sickle cell trait, there are no complications or
Right,
anything to worry about has been a job in itself. But
right.
we continue to get out there and promote as much as we can that, there are complications. For the most part, it is benign, but there are complications that can be associated with sickle cell trait. And that education is lacking.
That's the thing I hope to do.
Well, we're happy to have you join us.
Thank you so much.
This is the club no one wants to join.
No, but we're good people.
Oh,
Exactly.
we're great people. You found a family. You just found a family. I just want to tell you. Yeah,
Amazing.
You know, Julia was a swimmer too.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah, she was a competitive swimmer.
yeah.
I
She
don't know how.
lived in Indianapolis.
Oh, no way. That's
Yes,
my daughter is at IU.
yeah, she lived in Fishers, Indiana. Unfortunately, she just passed away a couple months ago. But
Just lost her.
yeah, but we have a lot of good testimonies here, so don't lose hope.
Okay.
That's right.
Uh,
That's right. We a lot of good scan results and a lot of good man testimonies and stories. Um, so yeah, there's definitely hope out there. Um, Stay positive, stay encouraged. You know, we understand this journey, and we're gonna be here to help support you through this journey, and keep you uplifted. You know, in our thoughts and prayers. So, uh, thank you for sharing. Thank you for joining us tonight. So, hopefully, we see you again. Um, Second Tuesday every month is when our group is. So, hopefully, we see you again, and you share with us, you know, your journey, and you know, give us updates along the way.
I'll be here.
Not just the second Tuesday. What about Saturday? What's the Saturday schedule, Miss Ritchie?
well, the Saturday schedule, we've made a group decision that we're going to put it on hold till the first of the year because the intent of the Saturday group was to capture the ones overseas, and we're not really having participation.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we're going to hold on the Saturday until the first of the year and then reevaluate it.
Okay. Well, maybe we could get a second meeting during the week. It's a possibility. I'll leave it with you moderators, but we'll make space for you if you need space.
Definitely. We appreciate that, Rick.
Thank you. Um, we have Micah. Micah, do you have a update for us or any questions or concerns this evening? Micah, are you with us? Okay. Okay. Michelle, do you have any updates or any questions or concerns for the group this evening, or anything you want to share?
Micah just came back, Andre.
Micah,
Yeah,
are you with
yeah.
us?
I have to just try to wait. We can't just go to the no, I'm sorry, the mic. It's it gets hidden after we're sitting here for a while. So go ahead, Mr. Michael.
Hi, this is Mika. Sorry, I actually hang up the line wanting to unmute myself. I'm actually Elvie's stepmother. So I was listening while I was giving the last one his bath and putting him to bed. So I followed the conversation, and so just I couldn't introduce myself where you were talking about Elvie because my hand were in the bath. So, but I appreciate everybody, every single one of you showing up here and sharing your stories. It was very inspiring and encouraging to hear everybody and find community here that's supportive and looking forward to connect more with this group in the months ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining us. And you know, feel free to ask any questions or share your concerns or thoughts, with the group. Um, LV, definitely in our thoughts and prayers as always, and we're gonna help support, her and you guys throughout this journey. So thank you for sharing and
Thank
being on.
you. Thank you.
Maybe
Well,
we could share, if we could say something, just think some thoughts about the lady. I heard on a news report some of the people that were evacuating from Tampa. They selected a whole bunch of people from a particular neighborhood, and they made a point to say one was a one did not evacuate, and she has MS. And I said, oh my God. And that she just stayed behind. So, um, you know, I guess I looked at it from the perspective I could understand maybe where she's at. You know, it's a maybe I hope it's not that situation, but not leaving when everybody's telling you it's a mandatory evacuation. I don't know what to make of that, but I could kind of understand.
Can I just,
So,
Michelle, this
hmm
is this isn't the MS group. This is the renal
oh,
medullary carcinoma group. You're
oh,
in the
oh,
wrong
you
room, my darling.
again,
Uh, And
again,
I
Mr.
hope,
Rick, again,
and
again.
I
Oh my,
again, and I hope that you don't have any. I hope you don't have anything to do with RMC. I'm sure you're a little familiar with RMC, and I hope you don't have it. But
uh-uh.
go over to the other room, and I'll be over there soon. And we, it's funny that you say this, Michelle. I just, as I came into the room, I got um, a call from our board president, Bill Franklin,
Mm-hmm.
who has had to evacuate to
Uh-huh.
Orlando. He got
Uh-huh.
nailed last. He got nailed in Helene, and he's already evacuated his house and his mother-in-law's house. They went up to Clearwater, and he's not staying
Mm-hmm.
in Clearwater. And he just called me. I'll call him back after the groups are done. But get your little
Wow.
hiney over to the right room, okay?
Well, you know what? I went over there, Mr. Rick, and I didn't hear anybody, and I left out of it. I did. I went to that one first. But not room. Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't hear anybody. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, there should be somebody there. I didn't check this time. I usually check, but I didn't check. But hopefully
Okay.
somebody opened the room. Okay, maybe I'll
All
have
right.
to
Yeah.
go out and check and then come back to this one.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm leaving now.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye.
So, just in case you didn't realize, we do have a very good MS group, but it runs at the same time as this one. But if you know anybody who has MS, send them to that group. It's a really good group.
all right, all right. Brian, you have any updates for us or any questions or concerns over your way?
Uh, no update for me. Everything's going pretty normal for me. Next set of scans are gonna be in December, but other than that, nothing new to report for me.
Are you on every 4 months or is it every
Yeah,
4 months?
they moved from 3 to 4 months right now. So
Okay, all right. Hey,
I climbing that ladder.
yeah, we getting there. We are getting there. All right, so that's good, man. That's
Yeah,
good. I'm glad, man. Proud of you. Making this part.
appreciate it.
How long has it been since your first clear scan?
Uh,
First NED scan?
NED. It's been about a year. About a year. I think it was like
Okay.
this time last year, like September, October.
Okay. All
So
right. Feeling pretty good, man. Once the further you get away from that, the better you start,
yeah,
feeling and just being excited, man. So
yeah.
I definitely understand. So thank you for giving us that update. Um, Roxanne, do you have any update or anything you want to share with the group this evening?
I just want to congratulate everyone on this call that have the clear scans and just encourage everyone, that's still dealing with it to just have faith and move forward. And I do want to know if any of you all know how to reach out to Julia's sister, I think it is, and her son. And the reason I'm asking is I lived in Fishers, Indiana for 10 years before we moved to North Carolina. And I know his grandfather was saying, that it was hard for him right now. And I would love to be able to reach out for them. I'm kind of familiar with the area and just little things like that. If, it's okay to even, get some information to be able to reach out to her sister and definitely her son, just to give encouragement to talk. I mean, it's just a lot of little things. Like I said, my son went to my son and daughter both went to high school through Fishers, Indiana, and HSE. So I know all the different sports programs, things like that, that may help to just talk to somebody else who's dealt with this and still knows kind of like the area. And but yeah, we live there all the time. And I also hear the part when everybody's asking, did they play sports? And my son ran track from junior high, and then he ran for University of Cincinnati. And it was when he was in University of Cincinnati running that he mentioned to one of the athletic trainers about his back. And the athletic trainer was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like it's probably your sickle cell trait." And unbeknownst to us, because I'd always thought sickle cell trait didn't, affect you in any way, we never pursued having anything else um, just really looked at after that. So he ran his 4 years in college, and even after he came out, he exercised really hard when he was here to become a personal trainer. And that's when a lot of things, started to unfortunately fall into place and things like that. So, not knowing how sports actually affected this, I've gathered a lot of information since being on this call just to know that I, it's a lot. And unfortunately, even when he was going through chemo, his body rejected every port that was put in him. So his chemo, he couldn't even use a port to get his chemo. A lot of times it had to go through his veins. The first time, no, he could never use the ports. His body rejected, I think, 2, 3 ports, and so they didn't even try again after that. But he still did get his chemo and radiation and things like that. But yeah, so like I said, these calls are very, very, they give you a lot of information, a lot of places to like move forward to. And I don't even know if we have like a mailing list. I'm one of those people who loves to send out cards. So I don't even know if we have addresses for most of the people that are on here or anything. That's just one of the things I like to do. And if there is one, you know, I I'd like to get my hands on it so that I can just
I have a
spread the
job for you. Thank you.
but yeah, so because
I'll take
I'm
care of
just so encouraged about some of the things I hear. And like I said, it's too late for my son, but moving forward will be okay. And it's going to be hard because his birthday is next week. So
it. And
it'll
Chris's
be hard.
birthday is in November, so yeah, it's
Yep,
hard.
it is
What is
October
his birthday?
17th.
It's October the what?
October 17th. And his sister's birthday was October 15th, and she has full blown sickle cell, but she's doing well. And so she tells me, "Mom, I know it's my birthday, but it's going to be hard this year." So I said it is, but we'll be okay. We will be okay.
It is
So
hard.
thank you for letting me share.
So I just want to say it's really thoughtful and compassionate of you to want to reach out to Ron and the family, and I know that they can that they'll appreciate it. Richie, should should Roxanne do that through you or through Alexa? What's the best way to do
Yeah,
it?
I'll get in contact with Ron and let him know what's going on because we stay in contact on a regular basis. I actually thought he would probably be on the call, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'll reach out to Ron and make sure it's okay, and get the address and telephone number for you.
And I know
But
they'll
I
be
would like to
friends.
do, I think I have most of the birthdays of everybody on our call too. So I want to get the birthdays and
You know,
everybody's addresses.
I'm thinking, Richie, that maybe a great starting point for Roxanne might be with Ron,
Hmm. It would
as
be.
opposed to with Julia's sister.
Her sister. Okay.
But
Oh,
I
definitely. We would
yeah,
go
I
through
think
Ron.
that we should connect you, Roxanne, to Ron,
Hmm.
and then go from there. He needs some support right now. I know
Hmm.
that. We know that for a
Definitely.
fact.
I
Yeah,
know. I know.
definitely.
You know, he had a rough experience with a local support group, and he called us, and you know we help him as much as we can. But I think it would be amazing if he could talk to you, Roxanne. He'd really
Sounds good.
really appreciate it.
Sounds good. And I can start that route. And like I said, especially because I know the young man. I know I think she said he was 12, and I want to reach out to Ron and her son, because I still even have a lot of accolades and things from the Fishers area. So I don't even know. My son, he was a tennis shoe person, so I don't know what size shoe this young man wears. But if it's his size, he would have a plethora of tennis shoes here because
Oh my
we just
gosh.
have them. They're just here. So there's like a lot of little things. I'll reach out to Ron and see if there's ways that we can connect that way. So, and I have a stepson who just moved back to Indianapolis, so that is somewhere that my husband and I will visit frequently. So we will be there, for different things and times of year, so I can still be in the area.
That's awfully nice of you, Roxanne. We appreciate that
Definitely,
so much.
definitely. Thank you, Roxanne, for sharing
Thank
with us.
you.
Misty, you had a question or?
I was going to share something came to mind. I had forgotten about the whole physical activity thing. Again, because we missed last month. Over the winter break last December, LB was working out a lot, and so when she started having lower back pain, it was on both sides, and I took her to the chiropractor, and her dad took her to the chiropractor, and she's 12, and so I just thought it was musculoskeletal because they go to their room and they come out and they look an inch taller. So uh, and then when the chiropractor didn't give her any relief after a few adjustments, we went to the pediatric orthopedist. He did imaging and he didn't see anything. um, he just thought she wrenched herself, overexerted herself. So there could have been a correlation between her exercising over the winter break and then 2, 3 weeks later, all of a sudden she had this lower back pain. But because she had no other symptoms, there was no blood in her urine yet, there was no headache, there was no cough, there was no. And so then we went to PT in February, and that didn't help either. So by March, when she started having a cough and she was getting lightheaded, it just happened so quickly from like 6 weeks from the middle to end of December, January to the middle of March. Then she had blood in her urine and the cough because it was in her lungs, the headache, the dizziness. I had forgotten about that physical exertion possibly being a precursor to this. Um, but with birthday things, when Elvie had her first biopsies April 1st, it was my mom's birthday, and I was like, Lord, you're not going to go meet my mom in heaven today, so you have to come back. Because she deteriorated so quickly from the time we were admitted. Um, like she was unable to breathe on her own within 5 days of being admitted. But so Friday, when she has her full nephrectomy, it's my birthday. But because I'm a certain age, we don't really celebrate them anymore. um, so yeah, I get the whole uh, But anyway, LB apologized and said, "It's okay, Mama, we'll do something else." But yeah, so I just wanted to share that that triggered the reminder in me, and I feel like everyone else that once we get on the other side of this, the whole sickle cell knowing your status, because the research oncologists who put that together, initially they were going to diagnose her with a different carcinoma. It wasn't even a carcinoma, a different solid tumor. But they pulled her newborn screening and saw that she had the sickle cell trait. And he, he said, well, you know, didn't you get her newborn screening? And we lived in that house for 5 years. And he knew that Elby's dad was a carrier, and we just never, he knew that by having her together, there was no chance for her to actually have sickle cell. So the fact that we didn't get that newborn screening from our health department is very concerning, because we were aware, we just weren't aware of that part of the information. And so, like, I say all this to say that is that, like so many other people, that we hope that we can definitely at least share her story with one other person so they can catch it early. Because I truly believe that, you know, they caught LB's, even though they told us her prognosis wasn't good. I mean, they were very certain to tell us that several times. Um, she's had such a amazing response to the chemo, because in the timeline of people who, you know, she literally began treatment at 12 weeks from the onset, 10 to 12 weeks from the onset of her back pain. So I just wanted to add that, because I don't know if I ever shared it before, but listening to everyone triggered those thoughts for me.
And it's always good to celebrate your birthday, Misty. You never get too
Uh,
old.
I'm gonna get a new speaker for my turntable so I enjoy listening to music when I'm home alone, when Elby's with her dad, or just in the kitchen and cleaning. So I think I will buy myself a new speaker for Elby's turntable. I got a turntable last year for Christmas, and I keep buying records that I like. And so yeah, that's how I'll celebrate my birthday, with a gift to myself. But thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing, Misty. You know, we're all about, you know, raising awareness and the importance of, you know, those, when it comes to sickle cell trait, you know, them just saying that is benign and not really, you know, giving you the, I guess, the effects of what could happen, you know, the importance of staying hydrated and understanding, you know, being in high elevation areas and stuff like that. Because, I mean, in my case, I had, I mean, my mom is a carrier of the sickle cell trait, but it was never, I mean, pretty much relayed to me. And I served 17 years in the military. So over in the desert, I mean, doing CrossFit, all type of activities where, you know, if I would have known, you know what I'm saying, before, then maybe, you know, I wouldn't have went so hard at CrossFit or made sure I stay hydrated or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, physical exertion is one of, I know Dr. Messiah has talked about that before, you know, triggers RMC. So,
I think
thank you for that.
Melissa does she have her hand? I think Melissa wants to say something.
But, Melissa?
Yes, I was curious. So I have rheumatoid arthritis, and for a long time I thought I also have O plus blood. A long time I thought I could not donate blood because of my medications. Um, and then I found out that actually I could donate blood, and I knew that they need O plus, O positive. So I went to donate blood, and got a letter from the company that they couldn't filter my blood, um, probably because the sickle cell trait or the unusual shape of some of my blood cells. They were not able to do that. I was wanted to talk with Dr. Masul and see if that was kind of an early, at least for me, indicator about that my kidneys may have future problems filtering my blood. Has
Mm.
anyone ever experienced that?
Mm, I'm not too sure about that. I do know that the question did come up regarding those with sickle cell trait. Could they give blood? Some say yes, some say no. So we never really gotten a clear answer on that question. We
And
can investigate it a little bit.
it depends on how each company, I guess, filters their blood. But the one I went to in particular,
Mm.
uh, Vitalant, sent me a letter and said, we can't filter your blood, so we can't accept your blood anymore. So
Hmm.
I was curious about
So we're going to give you an assignment, okay?
that.
When you see Dr. Masul
Right?
on is it this Friday or a week from
Friday, this
Friday?
Friday. Yeah.
This Friday. When you see Dr. Masul this Friday,
Ask him.
you can tell him that you've got to take this back to the group, that Rick gave you the assignment. You've got to take it back to the group. We'd love to know what Dr. Masul's view is on blood donors with sickle cell.
Okay. Alrighty.
So you can come back and report.
Okay. Got it.
All right.
Melissa, I'm just curious. Did they say any of the cells, like any of your blood, like sickled, like any of your cells were sickled? I'm wondering if that was part
It
of it.
was a really generic letter. I was like, can I get a little bit more? They just said that they were unable to filter my blood. And so I kind of extra step like, well, is it my trait? Is it so I don't know.
Yeah,
No
because
clue.
I that maybe if it there because I believe like with the sickle cell trait,
Right.
like under certain pressures, your cells will sickle. So maybe that
Right.
might be an indication if it
Mhm.
had like sickle cells.
Okay. Interesting. I will ask Dr. Masul and let you guys know.
I
all
think
right.
Micah has her hand raised.
Is it Mika? Is it
Is it
Mika?
me?
I think it's
Mika.
Mika.
Actually, it's Ono again. Where
Oh,
Oh,
I
okay.
joined Mika's call. So we're on the same call. Yeah, on the same phone. Yeah. So I had a question, especially for those that have had clear scans for a while. One of the questions I asked repeatedly at the hospital when we were getting discharged was dietary recommendations, right? And there seemed to be the same answer every time, which was there's no known dietary uh, preference for whether for cancer or for RMC. And it's, I felt it was I felt they were just dismissing the question, and I've heard so many different variations of different dietary plans or recommendations. I don't know if there are any thoughts with you all and folks that, but yeah, if there are any thoughts on the call on that.
that question comes up quite a bit. I have been trying to find a nutritionist to come in and meet with us just to give us some basic information. But I know Dr. Masal had been out of town, and I don't know if he's not receiving my emails. Something is going on, so I am still working on trying to get a nutritionist to join us one evening so that they could answer those questions. But maybe Andre or Brian could share um, what.
Um, I know going through the chemo. Um, I know that at one point, I tried to go vegan. I tried a whole bunch of different things. But the most important thing that I found out, just through chemo is you gotta pretty much just you got to eat to stay strong. So I mean, the chemo affects taste buds and things like that. So um, man, I just pretty much ate whatever tasted good at the time. I mean, just because the chemo takes a toll on your body, on your red blood cells, your white blood cells. So that's kind of how I kind of got through the chemo part of it as far as that. So Brian, do you got anything to add, or what about your diet during chemo?
Uh, During chemo, just like you, Andre, I just ate whatever tasted good, and I mean, because pretty much I feel like you're not really fighting the cancer, you're fighting the chemo at that point. So you just gotta eat what you can to get yourself through it. Afterwards, as far as like diet goes, just since I have one kidney, I try to like eat healthier things, stuff that's I guess kidney friendly, I guess like plant-based proteins, less red meat, stuff like that. But I don't know if there's any set diet for us that I know of.
So
Yeah.
I'd like to add a couple of things because it sort of reminds me, and some of this is for Melissa too, since she's going down on Friday. Um, Most comprehensive cancer centers, including MD Anderson, do have registered dietitians that are available to you. So you can just ask for a consult with a registered dietitian, and they should be able to take you through. First of all, they're going to have a lot of tips what and how to eat during chemo. And if there's anything special that is related to RMC or sickle cell trait, they should know that. They're really specialists in cancer as well as being registered dietitians. They have a specialization in cancer. The other thing which we always recommend, because we think it's hugely important and something you should put in place if you can, is to have a member of the palliative care team on your treatment team. So palliative care is not end of life. It's about managing symptoms. And when you're going through chemo and you're dealing with fatigue and you're dealing with nausea and you're dealing with all these other various things, they are the people who probably have as much, if not more, knowledge than a Dr. Masoul. So they're going to be able to play around with your nausea medicines and balance them. They're going to be able to help you with fatigue. And when you're there, or even like tomorrow morning, send a note to Dr. Masoul and say you'd like to meet with palliative care so you can schedule it at the same time so you get your palliative care doc. And you can ask for a registered dietitian. I don't know what they do with exercise. I don't know if they've got, I think they do have an exercise program, but at MD Anderson, but I'm not. When I say an exercise program, they've got certain specialists that will help you with exercise. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure Dr. Masoul would know, or certainly the palliative care peeps would know. But it's just really, really, really important to have that palliative care person online.
And they also have physical therapy that will work with you as well, and
Yeah,
OT.
yeah, yeah. But exercise is different from PT.
Yes, it is. It's different,
And
but at least you can strengthen your
right,
muscle. Yeah.
right. But the but hopefully there's somebody who can give you the right exercise program. I mean, there's a whole theory of thought that exercise is hugely important and alleviates a lot of the symptoms of chemotherapy. There's a doc in Chicago that I've heard of who actually gives you um, chemotherapy whilst you're on a treadmill and walking. Um, and it seems counterintuitive, but it helps with the fatigue and it helps with a lot of things.
Yeah.
So try, when you try to get, it's really hard to do. I mean, I get it. I really get it. But if you can do it, it'll make you feel better.
Yeah, they do encourage walking. If it's nothing but short walks, they definitely encourage
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. And I'm sure if you Google, I just wanted to check on palliative care. There's a Russian lady who I've heard on give talks. She's one of the palliative care docs. She seems really really good. I forget her name, but I've seen her. Um, but I'm sure if you Google MD Anderson registered dietitians, you'll find a whole list and choose one. So Jennifer has her hand up, Captain.
Jennifer, how's it going? Go ahead.
Hi. I just wanted to kind of comment about the diet question. I know right now Antonio's eating whatever he can because I know he went, you know, 2 almost 3 months without eating anything, just the nutritional drinks. But I do know that when he had his nephrectomy, they did put him on a no-fat diet for about 2 weeks, just to try to avoid the lymph nodes from, leaking fluids. So, I mean, that was really kind of important at that point, and maybe something that you can consider, going into surgery and everything to maybe prepare and be able to shop before you have the surgery. Um, just thought I'd bring that up.
All right, thank you, Jennifer, for sharing. Did that answer your question there?
Yeah, no, thank you guys. Thank you.
Okay.
I think um yeah, I'll love. I think someone mentioned having a nutritionist on the call one of these days, and maybe getting some more info on that. I think what I heard was what I think heard so far. Everybody kind of has their thing, and I'm glad. I think he left the call, but one of the gentlemen talked about the post kidney. With one kidney, also that's another thing I didn't even think about. Like, how should we?
Yeah.
Uh, that's also a consideration that I didn't even consider. So yeah, sorry, that was Brian. So I appreciate that, and well, I'll definitely be looking into that too.
Where is LV getting her treatment?
At Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, sure.
So again, I'm sure if you reach out and make an appointment with a registered dietitian
No,
there.
we have, and I
Okay.
and that's why I was not very satisfied with her response when we did raise.
Okay.
It was very dismissive, and that's
Okay.
why
That's not great.
yeah, well, dismissive in the sense of, I'm like, hey, I'm assuming there should be some recommendation, and I know the different forms of cancer, but for this, what do you? And her response was, "There's no cancer diet," and I'm like, okay, great, but I mean, we're doing it. We're trying to do everything we can to give her
Right.
a you know a fighting chance, because and I'll just vent a little bit on here, because when one of the hardest things, I think, well, what to overcome was the day we were told, given her initial diagnosis, which was wrong, but they finally revised it to get an RMC. They asked if we wanted a prognosis. I didn't want one. I just wanted to. I told them, look, she's going to be fine, because I realized that, at least for me, I realized that this was now, we needed to believe she was going to be fine in order for her to believe she was going to be fine. And the Dr. Smart, her her prognosis was, it's very bad, and that upset me so much, because I'm like, I knew, I had already made up my mind that we're going to get through this, but that didn't help, and I just feel like they could do a better job of giving people hope when they're going through something like this. And I don't know that they're equipped to, at least in our experience. I don't know what everybody else's experience, but at least for what our initial experience with our oncology. Um, but so yeah, just yeah. Anyway, I'm not sure if that added value or didn't, but just
I want to add something. I think what Ono is saying also is what I found surprising with all the literature that is out there currently around the benefits of food to the body and health, that they didn't really treat this as a possible additional tool to
Yeah,
improve conditions. We know that food is health, but it
yeah.
didn't seem that was part of their vocabulary. And even during the hospitalization, there was no preference or push toward healthy food or things that are more nutritively balanced. They feel like, I mean, I understand why they didn't want to stress and create more additional constraint for a complicated situation, but there was no education and no communication around how we should consider and look at food moving forward as an additional thing that can give us support.
So we try to with RMC it may be a little different, but we do our best to guide people to get treated at um, centers of excellence that are either National Comprehensive Cancer Network or the National Cancer Institute certified. And I think what you'll find, Mika, is that in those institutions, the dietitians do have the knowledge. The problem is that when you are at a more general facility, like a general pediatric hospital, um, they don't have that knowledge. And rather than referring you, they give you a rubbish answer, which you got and was wrong. I don't think that you would get that same response at MD Anderson. I know for certain you wouldn't get that response at somewhere like UCSF or even the Children's Cancer Center at UCSF. You just wouldn't get it. And again, it's a function of the hospital. Now, to the extent that you have the energy, you should advocate and go back and say this was just totally unsatisfactory, because there are appropriate diets for cancer, and there are some foods you should do your best to avoid during cancer, although at times when you need all the calories you can get from anywhere, all bets are off, and we all know that. But it just bothers me that they left you with that impression, because it's not the right impression. I mean, we'll do our best to try and get an MD Anderson nutrition person, a registered dietitian, on here, and if not, I can find we can find others. Richie, it would be better from MD Anderson, but we can reach out to UCSF and get people from there that I know. Melissa, what's on your mind?
I did meet with a dietitian when I was at MD Anderson. The recommendation was a plant-based diet. Um, watch your sodium, watch your potassium, um, add omega-3s. So fish several times a week, smaller portions of protein, larger portions of grains and vegetables. Um, while at MD Anderson, I was able to go to the library and check out a cookbook and look up a few recipes, but that's just my experience. I haven't been able to institute the diet yet because the diverticulitis flare up and I've been mostly on liquids and rice and the brat diet. But anyway, that was what was recommended.
What did they say about hatch chilies?
They're not touching my hatch chilies. I don't care what they say.
Okay, well, I heard a
Flavor
great
saver.
article. I heard a great piece on, I can't remember, it was on the radio. I listen to the radio a lot about some other chilies that are really, really rare and unusual. Somewhere further north. I can't remember the name of them, but they're in New Mexico, but somewhere further north of where the hatch chilies are grown, and they're very hard to come by, and they're very expensive. But there's like a town, and I can't remember what they were called. It doesn't ring a bell?
It's not
It does.
Albuquerque.
No, 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 no. This is like special chilies that are grown in a very special certain area.
Mm.
I'll
Um,
look it up. We like
uh,
Socorro chili better than Hatch, so
yeah, no, these
special.
are more
Or
specialized than hatch, and they're supposed to be very special, and they're pretty
I'll have to find that
expensive as
out.
well. And but I can't remember now. And now I'll have to go and look and see if I can find them. And if I do, I'll let you know. But yes, they're it's somewhere north of Taos, I think, or somewhere around Taos, or somewhere in that
Okay,
area where they
interesting.
grow them.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yes.
Lucilla Valley near Hatch, New Mexico. No.
No. No.
No,
Well,
Hatch is south, whereas Taos is way up north.
yeah, this is somewhere
Towards
further
Colorado.
north. Yeah, this
Huh.
is definitely further north, but I'll find it. Guys, I got to go over to the MS people. Hopefully, they got a group going. They figured out how to open that room. We're a person short. Alexa is in, if you were wondering, Alexa's in Houston with Brian, and we're finally going to get Brian some decent medical care, which I
So,
am really, really happy about, because in all the years he's never had proper follow up for his cancer. And when we all met, you remember that, Captain, when we all met,
Mm-hmm.
and Dr. Elaney was there.
hmm.
She ripped into Alexa and Brian about, you gotta get proper care, and you can come see me. So finally, they're gonna go see Dr. Elaney tomorrow, who is just fantastic. And we're lucky that Brian's cancer happens to be within her specialty. And we've been getting scans and this and that and the other, and gathering information. So that's where Alexa is in Houston tonight with Brian for their appointment with Dr. E tomorrow.
Oh, that's
So if
awesome.
she's come out of mourning with Dr. E, she may not have come out of mourning from the Astros yet. I'm not sure. She was.
All right, now leave those Astros alone.
Okay, guys, I'll see you all next month, if not before. Bye.
All
Bye
right,
bye,
Rick. Thanks
Rick.
for joining us. All right. Carissa, you got any updates, questions, concerns for us tonight?
Well, I know we talked about doing like an ugly sweater contest for Christmas. So I wonder if you guys be interested in that for like the December call.
I'm down for it.
I think it'll be great.
Me too.
Sounds good. Even though all my sweaters are ugly, I'll just have to pick one that's a Christmas theme.
All right. Miss Ritchie, you got anything for us tonight?
Not really. Just to remind everybody to mark your calendars for March. I know it seems like it's far away, but our 12th annual Keeping It Renal Run Walk will be March the 22nd,
Hmm.
2025. We will have two so far. Well, actually, we will have three. One in Greece, one in Pasadena, California, and then the other one here in Sugar Land. Let's see, March the 22nd. And that's about it. That's all that I really have. Oh, Aisha wanted me to just let you guys know that she'll catch up next month. Gregory's been in the hospital, but is doing well. So she will catch up with us next month, and our next meeting is November the 12th, 2024. Just mark your calendars for 7 o'clock Central Time. Um, our next meeting. And we will not have the Saturday meeting. We will reevaluate the first of the year. And I'm on my way to Rome next week, so I will be out of pocket for 2 weeks. And happy birthday, Misty.
Well, definitely enjoy your trip, Miss Richie. You know, you definitely deserve it. We thank you for everything you do for RMC. So enjoy
Well,
your trip.
thank you. I will be thinking about you guys.
Thank you all so much. Glad I joined even if I was late. But
It's okay.
Oh, yeah. Don't
It's
worry about it.
okay. It's okay. Does anybody have anything else on their mind that they want to share with the group tonight? If not, we're going to get ready to close.
All right.
So thank you guys for joining the meeting. As always, you know, going to be in our thoughts and prayers. Stay positive, stay encouraged, and we're going to keep on raising awareness until there is a cure for RMC. So going to keep pushing forward, and you know, keep keep moving forward. So thank you guys for coming tonight, and we'll see you guys November the 12th next month for our meeting.
All right,
Um,
guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Just,
Good
Bye.
night so much.
sorry, just one